Assalamualaikum. My name is Songko Mamangka. My matric number is 2020990291. Today I'm going to present about the function of election in Malaysia. The Election Commission of Malaysia, in Malay, Suruhanjaya Pilihan Raya Malaysia, also known as SPR or EC, is a body established to ensure that elections in Malaysia are conducted in a fair and equal manner. It was established by the former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, which is executive order. The Prime Minister department is in charge of the agency. In every democratic country, elections are common political procedure. Elections are held in Malaysia to elect delegates to the federal parliament and state assemblies. The next point is when a majority of voters support a single political party, it indicates that voters have some aspiration of the nominee. The winning party forms the government, and it is their responsibility to carry out the pledges and manifestos made to voters during the election process. The third point is the Malaysian Constitution established an election commission tasked with holding election for the House of Representatives and legislative assemblies in all 13 Malaysian states, as well as preparing and revising electoral rules for those elections. The Election Commission is therefore empowered by the Constitution to review the division of the federation and state into constituencies and propose any amendments they believe are appropriate to conform with the requirement of the Constitution 13th schedule. The last point is the Election Commission has the authority to define the borders and limits of constituencies based on the electoral roll of registered voters, as well as to govern the manner in which elections are held. Despite the fact that the Election Commission is in charge, the Constitution will not be influenced by any manner of the government, and the Constitution has traditionally considered seeking to preserve the Commission independence. It is covered by the Act and can only be repealed by a Supreme Court Justice using the same technique. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nadira binti Zulkarnain, and I want to present the function of Election Commission in Malaysia. The function of Election Commission in Malaysia is to undertake the process of voters registration and electoral roll review. Malaysians who reaching the age of 20 can pre-register as a voters. Under Article 119 of the Federal Constitution say, an eligible citizen can register as a voter upon after reaching the age of 21 years. Before to electoral review is monitoring of the electoral roll regarding voters with the same address. Based on the situations, the factors contributing to incomplete address that are too general, shared address, for example, address that are not updated after moving to another place, and borrowed address, which is they unable to register in one particular art that they want to register at. Then, allowing objection through complaint or feedback from political party, non-governmental organization, and others on the certified electoral roll when electoral roll review. The committee take note to the existing regulations that it only allow objection be made against the elector's name that are on display in supplementary electoral roll.
Constituency apportionment and delineation. Calculate into steps the allocation of parliamentary constituencies among different states and the delineation of both parliamentary and state constituencies in each state. The first is allocation of parliamentary constituencies among the different states. And the second is the delineation of both parliamentary and state constituencies in each state. The ruling party has power over state apportionment by amendments to Article 46 of the Constitution. The Election Commission then determines how the votes will be distributed. The Election Commission has the delineation in the first place written and is required to exercise significant discretion as a result of the realization and lack of specification of the rules regulating its execution of this role. Most notably, the Constitution has always left it up to the Election Commission to interpret and apply relevant but ambiguous words like wage, rural and urban, while delineating constituencies. As a result, the Election Commission will have a major impact on the delineation of constituencies. True, the Election Commission just makes recommendation and the government makes the final decision. However, it would be damaging to the government party's reputation if the Prime Minister made frequent and extensive changes to the public finding of an apparently neutral commission before they were ratified by parliamentary. In fact, the Prime Minister has only used his amending power sparingly. There are two options for allocating parliamentary seats to states. Malapportionment will occur due to apportionment between the state of East Malaysia and Peninsula Malaysia, as well as apportionment among Peninsula Malaysia's 11 states. These are discussed in detail below. There have been 3 general reviews or redelineation of parliamentary and state constituencies in Peninsula Malaysia so far in 1974, 1984 and 1994, not counting the 1960 redelineation that was annulled by the Constitution Amendment Act of 1962 and the one done by the Election Commission that had to be abrogated after the 1973 amendments were made. The constituencies established in 1994 were used for both the 1995 election and the most recent election in 1999. Prior to reach redelineation, the seats for Peninsula Malaysia were expanded. When Malaysia was created in 1963, the East Malaysian states of Sabah and Sarawak won assembly desirable seats assignments, which were also guaranteed not to be decreased without their permission for the first 7 years. Lastly, doubt concerning the Election Commission impartiality and competence have emerged not just a result for the Commission outputs, yet also as a result of the Commission process of delineating constituency. Continue McDougall's clearly critique of the Election Commission tradition of asking government officials to vet its recommendation. The DAP's Lim Kit Siang claims that while delineating district, the Commission often holds confidential meetings and consultation with UMNO representatives. Constituency delineation, in his opinion, have been reduced to another shadow representative play of Malaysia politics, in which political boss pull the levers of the Election Commission from behind the scenes. Despite the fact both the government and the Election Commission will vigorously reject this puppet and puppet master partnership, it is at least possible that this, in addition to or perhaps because of the Prime Minister's sparing use of his authority to amend the Commission's findings prior to their adoption by Parliament. Constituency.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Najibah Najia binti Ma'amir Hamzah and I will explain about my part, which is conduct election. Method obtained to the Election Commission is provided for the Malaysian Federal Constitution. The policy of the Election Commission is to protect, superintend and maintain the democratic process of the country through free and fair elections It is the responsibility of the Commission to ensure that the people are able to elect their representative by direct votes at any election. The Malaysia Election Commission consists of a chairman, a deputy chairman, and 5 other members. Members of the commission are appointed by His Majesty the Yang di-Pertuan Agong after discussion with the Conference of Rulers, having counted on the importance of securing an election commission that enjoys public confidence. Conduct general election to the Dewan Rakyat and state legislative assemblies and by elections arising out of casual vacancies. Next, an election has to be held also within a period of 60 days from the date accepted by the Commission to fill a vacancy as a result of that resignation and loss of membership. A general election or by-election is set in motion by the issue of a warrant to the returning officer by the Election Commission. Nomination must be held not earlier than 4 days after the date of the publication of the notice, and the polling not earlier than 7 days after the days of nomination. Other than that, there is a vacancy among members of the casual vacancy among members of the Parliament should be filled within 60 days from the date on which it is established by the President of the Senate that there is a vacancy, or by the Election Commission that there is a casual vacancy.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Ungku Mamamka. I'm going to explain about the conclusion for the function of election in Malaysia. Firstly, the public perception of the Election Commission differ depending on the Election Commission particular characteristic, such as good leadership, independent, professionalism and dignity. Next, about the fact that there are still a few contested questions about the Election Commission free and equitable conduct during the election. The public still views the Election Commission as a trustworthy election management agency. The next point is we need to raise awareness about the importance of voting among Malaysians young people. This is due to the fact that many young people do not know how to vote and where to vote, and there are also certain young people who are too lazy to vote or take this as not and do not take this as a serious issue. For the next point is any party that wishes to take on the federal power and provide stability in multi-ethnic Malaysia must not only be a representative organisation defined by making a pragmatic political pact with other parties representing the different segments of Malaysian pluralism, but the party must also be strategic in its political move, defined by producing an integrated national agenda that reflects the significant diversity of Malaysian society. That's all from me. Thank you.